3rd. Let's take you straight now to Washington, D.C., where President Biden is signing a book of condolence at the UK Embassy in Washington. The first we've seen of President Biden since the news came through that Queen Elizabeth II has died. Quite a lengthy message there from President Biden, who also issued a statement earlier. Let's bring in Heidi Zhou-Castro, who's our correspondent in Washington. And Heidi, he talked quite movingly, didn't he, through quite a long statement that was issued by the White House earlier. I'm not sure that we can hear, that Heidi Zhou-Castro can hear us, but we've been watching there the pictures of President Biden, who's signing a book of condolence at the UK Embassy in Washington, D.C. Let's bring in Heidi Zhou-Castro, who saw the motorcade go in. And Heidi, quite a moving statement from President Biden, who's known the Queen for a very long time.
That's right, for decades, Lauren. I think they met back in 1982 when Biden was still a U.S. Senator. And he has reflected on that long friendship that he felt, the personal connection he had with Queen Elizabeth. And in that lengthy statement released from the White House earlier, he called her a stateswoman of unmatched dignity and constancy who deepened the bedrock alliance between the United Kingdom and the United States. He also went on to describe her as the first monarch who really gained worldwide significance and fame, really capturing the imagination and the admiration of Americans here as well. Throughout the day here outside the British Embassy in Washington, we've seen everyday Americans, young, old, some of them leaving their jobs to lay bouquets before the British flag, which of course is at half-staff here. And some sharing with me that they were deeply moved by the Queen's devotion to duty, something that certainly here in the U.S. political system, which doesn't see that sort of constancy of a 70-year reign, it's quite foreign, yet something that's fascinating to the average American. She was a celebrity here, as well as the other members of the royal family. And of course, most Americans never knew a time before there was a Queen Elizabeth II. And so news of her passing today certainly is a moment that the average American would have stopped, thought about it, and many moved now to share their condolences. And President Biden, as we've just seen, signing the book of condolences here in the British Embassy in Washington.
And Heidi, tell us a bit about some of the other presidents that the Queen met over the years and how they got on.
Right. Well, her reign endured through 14 U.S. presidencies, and she met with 13 of them. We know that every living U.S. president has also given statements about how they cherish those fond memories of her, something in common that we've heard from their statements, as well as from other foreign leaders. They loved her sense of humor, her humanity, and that she was able to make these personal connections, with foreign leaders. That was deeply treasured, something very special for the heads of states in the U.S. Now, she did visit the United States at least 6 times, visiting the White House. The first time was when she was still princess in 1951, meeting with President Truman. Her last visit here to the States was in 2007 when she met with George W. Bush. So certainly this is a consistency. It's something that we've heard a word over and over again today in the memory and the legacy of Queen Elizabeth. And seeing that consistent presence enduring 70 years in comparison, with the 14 U.S. presidencies that she reigned through. It's something that is fascinating, that certainly President Biden, we expect, will be addressing when he does speak in front of the camera. He has not done so yet, but we expect to hear from him shortly.
Heidi Zhou-Castro, thank you very much indeed, and we will bring you that as soon as we get at the moment the picture.